Well, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, my friends all across the globe today, and welcome to another project. Yes, I know, we already have Tiergarten on the way, but listen, I really wanted to start a new park, not only because I was so excited to work with the Lynx, but I was so scared to actually work with the fallow deer. Yeah, so I came upon a little bit of a creative block when I was building in Tiergarten, and I was like, listen, no, I gotta keep the ball rolling, I gotta do something else, something interesting. And the idea dawned upon me by looking up like inspiration from zoos across the world. And I found this beautiful, beautiful zoo. I think it was like, hold on, I'm gonna actually look up the name for it. It should Riverside Discovery Center, yeah. So if you guys are interested in the inspiration for this habitat alone, definitely do check out Riverside Discovery Center. In case of that, like, hey, we changed the name a little bit. We're the Riverbend Discovery Center. Listen, no harm, no foul. So this is something I really wanted to pop in here for, especially with the Lynx, because it was so fun to build for the Lynx that I just wanted to build even more with them. So here we are, and we're doing a lot of different things in here than in Tiergarten. So number one that you guys may notice is that I'm taking my time with all the minute details. So yes, this is going to be a quote-unquote hyper-realistic zoo setting. Yeah, so I know I kind of like to implement realism into all my other projects, but that kind of has a limit in some cases. Usually I don't like to realism everything up, but for this park, I figured I kind of want to try to do that and give myself this little bit of a new challenge that I've never really done before. So with that being said, I'm working on the actual framing for the habitat. If you guys can probably tell from the thumbnail, it is going to be all mesh. The lynxes cannot get out. It is tested, it is qualified, and it is certified. So of course we're working on that right now, just trying to get all the tiny details accounted for. And this is something that I really want to hammer down with the rest of this part going forward. I already have the next episode done, so that is going to be for the lesser flamingo. This one will involve mods, so definitely do keep that in mind. If you are going to watch this series, I will be using a content that is not officially in the game, but made by all my friends. So the Lesser Flamingo was made by Jen, obviously. And yeah, that's gonna be really awesome to see all that come through. But right over here, we're just focusing on the Lynx. These guys caught my eye when I first saw them, because I don't know, there's just something about lynxes and these smaller kind of cat-like creatures that are just very intriguing. So the Lynx, of course, has this beautiful kind of mane thing, kind of like sideburns, and they have some really cool ear tufts as well. So that's pretty much all that catches my eye when it comes to them. But I don't know, I just really want to build a nice little climbing structure for them inside of this exhibit as well as just continue this on throughout the entire exhibit. So I do build this in sections, just making sure I don't skimp on any details. And this is actually very helpful as well, because I can just copy it over and over again, and you'll actually see me do that later down the line when I actually do copy that to the other side. I did run into a couple issues with this. You guys can notice me like trying to fidget with it a little bit. The things weren't lining up correctly, and I really wanted just to standardize that all across the board so nothing really is out of place. But I eventually do get that to work, and you know what? It looks pretty dang good in the end. And these fences, oh my gosh, it was so fun to build like new fences. They were actually directly inspired off of the Riverside Discovery Center. So that's kind of like the whole vibe that I'm going for this entire park. I'm not really sure if all the exhibits will be inspired by that park, but definitely like the vibes, if you guys pick up what I'm saying right there. Obviously, just trying to make some stuff back here for holding, so I'm actually using a modified version of Haribo's Walls, made by Nicholas Lionrider, that does allow you to actually change out the flexi-color values, but I was already a big fan of how the colors were laid out, that I didn't even need to change them at all, so we just roll with it at that rate. I think it looked pretty dang good from over there, so you know what, we just keep that rolling. Of course, adding these little bits of connective additives, I guess you could kind of say, to the sides, just making sure that we cover up those unsightly corners with a little bit of timber and a little bit of wood. In the end, it actually looks very, very beautiful, so I'm very happy with how well it came out. And of course, I gotta add a little bit of keeper access. We do a little bit of a kind of airlock, I guess you could kind of call them. For the Lynx, obviously, when you're dealing with small predators like that, you gotta take in as many precautions as you can when it comes to containing them, so we do implement a little bit of an airlock system. And yeah, we'll just do all the interior when we actually feel up for it. I definitely do need to brush up on my leader tutorials when it comes to that, so we'll actually get there when we get there. I just really want to get the vibes of this zoo done first. And I'm so happy with how well it's turning out already. Oh my gosh, it's so fun to finally start new projects. Oh no. After, like, kind of being stuck in Foxborough, after kind of being stuck in Sugar Pine, I finally feel free, even though, you know, Foxborough is nowhere close to being done. I'm actually putting that off quite a bit recently. So we'll get there when we get there, but moving on through here I am, adding this little bit of the airlock, as I was saying before, just copying the same mesh from before, and making it all uniform and fill in with each other, so I'm very happy with how well that turned out. And just the general shape of this exhibit as well, I was extremely happy with. I don't know, when I saw Lynx exhibits, even if you look up Lynx exhibits, you'll see this one at first, but I don't know, I was just so taken aback with how beautiful it looked. Also using some of Mr. Gomez's air conditioning units over there, just to give it a little bit more of a kind of, you know, a little bit more of a realistic vibe. And we actually do start to have our blueprint graveyard in this episode, I think, as well as our kind of walk of heroes. I don't really know. Essentially, the idea is that you would have a brick named after you for however much you donated to the zoo, but in case of that, I have a brick for every person who made a blueprint that I used, and we're already up to like 6 blueprints as of recording this, so that's honestly really funny. And for example, here is one right here. This one is by Just Goron. So of course he made this for the Berserken, but we're retrofitting it a little bit for Riverbend, so I'm very excited to see that. And just the Lynx alone are so beautiful to watch in this game. They came out incredibly well, and I gotta give all the props over to Frontier for how well they were able to capture, like, you know, the real beauty, the real mystery of this animal, if I can put that in the right term. But here we are actually adding a little bit more implied staff access, just because that's exactly what my reference had on the picture. So I really wanted to integrate that a little bit more here as well. And as well as using all these beautiful periwinkles and the periwinkle flowers, they are incredible for larger areas like this. And here we actually are working on the blinds for the habitat. So obviously, all of your lynxes really wouldn't want the sun beaming down on them at all times, so there is a way to prevent that with these sunshades that some zoos actually use as a way to kind of give the animals a little bit more shade, give them a little bit more cooler temperatures, and also using the new decals to give this pathway a little bit more of a cracked vibe. And also here we actually go adding our blueprint graveyard, not really the graveyard, but our tributes. Yeah, that sounds like a much better way of phrasing that. So just making them feel apparent right there. We're gonna definitely have like the entire street line of this whole zoo be littered with them, because I love using blueprints. It always just feels so nice to use someone else's work, just to really help bring yours up a little bit more. And that's why I feel like the blueprint system is really appreciated by, because you have so many nice people out there who do such beautiful things, and they put it out there for you to use. And you know what? I feel like not a lot of us tend to use them all that often. So I don't know, it's just a really nice way of appreciating everyone who is able to kind of give their little hand in that. Also adding a few rocks in here as well, just as a way to kind of make this feel a little bit more lively. Even the new faux rocks, I tend to throw a couple of those in there as well. They're not really my cup of tea, just because they are too tiny for what I do. I tend to love doing some detail stuff, but not really to the extent where I would go and place individual faux rocks. But listen, if that's you, I am so jealous of you. Now moving on through here, I actually add a few benches, as well as some guest facility work and stuff like that, just making sure that the guests are happy when they walk through here. Of course, with this being a Discovery Center, this is very much a lower budget zoo, but I definitely do want to incorporate as many guest amenities as possible just to help people, sit down, help them, find some food and stuff like that. We'll actually probably do a restaurant, like maybe a small cafe later down the line. Maybe we'll do a couple like food stalls and whatnot, but with that being said, we're also adding a bit of a waypoint finder right here. We change it to a nice bright yellow. I feel like that gave it the nice contrast that we were looking for. And we add some street lamps as well, just because, it just feels right to have them. And I didn't want this just to be alone, so I kind of cover up the rest of the area with a lot more of the periwinkles and the cowberry bushes. It gives a beautiful, beautiful look to it all. And I essentially just make more fences all around, because you don't want your guests to go off the beaten path. You want them to stay exactly where you want them to. So adding these little areas right here is the perfect way to kind of integrate that a little bit more, as well as adding one right over here too, just to make sure that they're not going off anywhere where they're not supposed to be. Adding these beautiful dogwood bushes as well. Oh my gosh, they came out so beautiful. Frontier, this is literally like the exact piece I needed in my life. Oh my gosh. But with that being said, we're ending like the video kind of soon, but I just want to stop and thank you guys so much for watching. I know I'm throwing like a whole bunch of new series out there, especially towards the end of the year. I'm just trying some new stuff, so I really do hope you guys appreciate that. I always like to change stuff up when it comes to like this whole YouTube game, because I don't know, I really like to spread my options out. And listen, I feel like you guys will appreciate everything that I have coming in the next few weeks. But with that being said, we're adding the rest of our blueprints down here. You guys may have seen me place down that blueprint graveyard over there using some alliance signs as well. The modular sign set is incredibly useful. But here we are in the actual b-roll, so that's where I'll leave you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I can't wait to see you guys in the next episode. Take care and have the most wonderful of wonderful days. Bye bye now.